Hello everybody, my name's Nicola and welcome back to my channel. This is the Frugal Cottage, where we talk all things money to help you on your financial journey. Today's video is about a different budget method. It's the 50-30-20 budget method. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started in today's video. So I talk about budgeting quite a lot here at the Frugal Cottage. I'm a big fan of having a budget. A couple of days ago said in a video, I believe everybody needs to have a budget. I'll leave a link below to that video if you've not seen it already. But there are different budget methods around, and perhaps the reason why a budget doesn't work for you yet is perhaps you've not found the one that would suit you as a family or household, how many people you are budgeting for. So I thought I would share with you this budget method, the 50-30-21, explain just how that works and maybe show you that this might be the way to try and get your household into kind of a method of budgeting that isn't for everybody. I personally don't like the 50-30-20 budget method. I use the zero-based budget method, but this is a different one. See if this works for you. It might make it a lot easier. How does the 50-30-20 method work? So essentially it splits your spending into 3 different categories. So the categories in this one are needs, wants and savings, and that is it. So in terms of kind of different things to look out for, it's fairly straightforward. It's fairly simple in its nature, and it works on percentages. So if you're not somebody who likes to kind of do something down to the penny, then perhaps this budget method might be the one that works best for you. So 50%, or the 50 in this budget scenario, 50% needs to go on needs. So what does that mean? So 50% of your household budget should go on, in this scenario, housing, food, utilities, so gas and or electricity, and insurance of some kind, so house insurance, life insurance, all the different things you kind of need there to keep your home and things secure if something were to happen. So 50% of your entire income, so remember that could be your income, it could be joint income, it could be, all sorts. You need to work out what 50% of that is, roughly. Again, this doesn't go down to the penny, so if you're not someone who likes to kind of track your everyday spending and such, this might be a better way of doing this for you. 50%, so half of your household income should go on needs. Basically keeping the 4 walls around you and a roof over your head, and that's that. So housing, food, gas and electricity, and insurance of different types. The 30 in the 50-30-20 budget method is wants. So these are things like hobbies, entertainment, personal things that you want to spend money on. So they're not a need, these are the nice things, if you like, the things that we have that are things like hobbies, things like entertainment, so films, music, games, whatever you like for your entertainment. Personal items, so things like makeup, clothes, all that kind of thing, barring the essentials, go into the wants category. And again, so 30% of your entire household income on this 50-30-20 budget method goes towards the wants. That leaves us with 20% left, because obviously it's going to make up to 100, and the 20% in this budget method then goes to savings, whether that's your emergency fund, your sinking funds, other kind of retirement savings if you don't have it with your employer. Now this is where it's slightly different in the UK to the US if you use this budget method. Most of us in employment will have a pension set up with our employer, and it goes out before you get your pay into your bank account. So it goes out, I suppose, in the same kind of section as taxes on your paycheck. If you don't have that, or you want to add more to your pension, or you want to set up a self-invested pension, it would come from this bit. But majority of people won't need to include pensions in this budget scenario because you've already got one and it's already doing stuff. And investments also go into this category. So for the savings, it's for the majority of people, the 20% into savings will be emergency funds, sinking funds, and investments, or if you want to call them long-term savings. And that's the smallest category in terms of the amount of money you put into that. So in theory, it's a relatively simple budget method: 50% to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings. And it is great if you don't like tracking down to the penny but have rough estimates on what you spend and what kind of goes where. In that respect, this works really well. It's a really simplified version. if you have all of your needs set up as direct debits, or probably not food, but the rest of them set up as direct debits, you can quite easily work out that anyway. For me personally, and this is just my opinion, obviously this is not what everybody thinks about this, for me I think the 30% wants and the 20% savings, depending on your household income, are the wrong way around. So 30% of your household income on wants might be, for some households, like quite a substantial number. Obviously this is very much dependent on what your household income is, but 30% of household income on just things you would like each month seems like quite a big number. For me, I think, and I don't use this budget method, so this is me reflecting on this as I've done the research into what it means, and I've kind of ran our numbers if I were to use this budget method, and for me it doesn't kind of work as well as the zero-based budget method, but that is just kind of my opinion. I think for us, if I were to use this, and I don't particularly intend to, although it is interesting to run numbers in a different kind of budget scenario, I think I'd switch the wants and the savings percentages round. So I'd have it as 50% needs, because I can see how that would work quite nicely, and I've actually run our numbers and ours are not too over that, they're quite close to that. I'd have 30% savings and 20% wants. That's just me. I've also run both scenarios in terms of what our actual budget is and how closely the percentages go in terms of what they suggest. And it is interesting, but I think the 30% wants, and we're someone who's got quite a small household income compared to quite a lot of people, even then, the 30% wants is quite a big number, and I don't know how I'd feel about spending that each week and then each month. I don't know, it seems like it's a lot of money on stuff that just kind of I might buy on a whim, does that make sense? And then 20%, if that's stretched between emergency fund, sinking funds and investments, you know, we wouldn't ever get near our goal of early retirement if that was kind of the thing we followed. Absolutely nowhere near. So yeah, so the 50-30-20 budget method I think is great, especially if you're starting out budgeting and it might seem a bit daunting. It's kind of a simple way of getting started and giving you ideas of how much you should allocate to which kind of area in your budget. And for that I think it's great. I think it's a great starting point for you figuring out what the priorities are in your own budget, where the money already goes, kind of what percentages would you kind of, if you did it now, how much are you spending on wants as a percentage? How much of your budget goes on the essentials, the needs that you need in your house? It is interesting to see. But I think that in the long term, I think that 20% divided between emergency savings, retirement if you need to, and investing, especially if your household income isn't particularly high, it kind of doesn't stretch in all areas that much. I think I'd change that round. But that's just my personal opinion. I do think it's great as a beginning budget, especially if the idea of tracking every single penny seems really off-putting. I can see that. So that is why I think this would be great as a beginner budget method if you don't have a budget in place. So the 50% needs, 30% wants and 20% savings is the basics for the 50-30-20 budget method. So have a look at your budget. Does it fit into those percentages? I think it's interesting to see if kind of your budget would already fit into those without you even thinking about it. And is this something that you use already? Have you heard of this before? Let me know in the comments below if you've heard of this before, if you're going to try it now you've heard of it, or maybe you've looked at your budget and actually your numbers aren't too dissimilar to that anyway. Let me know in the comments below. Or do you agree with me and think that actually, you know, for longer term aims the 20% isn't enough? If you read all these fire blogs, they save like 70% of their income. Now that isn't possible for us. Nowhere near, but they would definitely disagree with this as a starting point. But there you go. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again in tomorrow's video for yet another Vlogmas.